In late 2025, Nikon announced the camera that many of us had been waiting for forever, the ZR. Finally, a camera created by Nikon featuring all of the red features that have been so awaited. And I don't have to remind you of all the incredible specs packed into this camera right here, but I will. 12-bit R3D red raw up to 6K 60, the codec of our dreams, the biggest and brightest screen to ever bless the mirrorless filmmaking camera scene, 32-bit float recording for all mics connected to this aux port right here, very great dual base ISO of 800 and 6400, incredible autofocus, amazing battery life. Naturally, this thing made everyone lick their lips and put in a pre-order, myself included. And you can go watch my video about why I pre-ordered it here if you're curious. But today I want to give you my thoughts on this thing after spending the last 6 months using it, both personally and professionally. So let's get right into it. The good. I can't lie, this camera right here is unlike anything I've come across in my short years in the video production space. You know, I've used Blackmagic cameras, I've used Sony cameras, and I've used Nikon cameras, but nothing like this guy right here. You know, for every camera I've used when I produce videos, I've always found that without rigging them, fully rigging them out, I'm not comfortable with using them, if that makes sense, right? Like I always feel like I need an external monitor so I can pull focus properly. I need a top handle, I need a cage, I need a side handle, so on and so forth. But when it comes to the ZR or ZR, I found that more often than not, I'm most comfortable using this camera with little to nothing on it. And I mean, the times I've used it most, it's got a lens, a cage, an ND filter, and sometimes a side handle. No monitor, no top handle, nothing. And it's a camera that just gives me an incredible, reliable image that I know has the flexibility to make all the adjustments in post when needed if something went wrong. And I mean, like, I don't have to tell you, the screen is a revelation unto itself, right? And I really hope, I sincerely hope that this level of innovation actually makes camera companies like Sony and others actually start to rethink their definition of a new camera with innovative new features. And I get the feeling we're going to start seeing much better screens on mirrorless cameras because of the ZR. And I mean, we've already seen that with the Kinefinity Vista that launched at NAB this year. Link above to what that camera is. But this monitor is so bright and punchy. I've never missed focus, and you don't have to use an external monitor, which is so nice. But finally, the image. And I thought I loved Sony colors, but I think it's just a case of loving what's in front of you because you don't know any better. But like, seriously, if you think you know color, rent a ZR, shoot yourself some red raw. The colors are just magical. And I honestly don't really know what it is. I don't have like the technical knowledge or know how to tell you what it is that makes R3D so pretty. But it just like is. The colors are super rich, vibrant, punchy, and like with a relatively light power grade, it feels just dreamy, right? And shooting in RAW just allows you that much more flexibility when it comes to adjusting your clip white balance and exposure. And that makes it hard to go back to H.265 codecs once you've actually played with the luxury of R3D RAW. The 32-bit float is honestly a great feature, but I think we've been kind of oversold on the idea of 32-bit float, and I say that with a 32-bit float mic in my hand. But I mean, make sure your audio levels are where they need to be and you won't need 32-bit float. And at this point, you know, everything has internal 32 bits, so this point, kind of a moot point, but whatever, still a great feature to have. But lastly, the fact that I can buy this Viltrox adapter right here and use all of my Sony lenses with like super amazing autofocus accuracy. Dare I say that's just a bonus, right? Like we already have a bunch of Z glass because we're Nikon photographers, but this adapter from Viltrox takes the cake from Megadapt for me and just gives you that extra bit of leeway. the bad. You didn't think this review would just be good, right? Come on now. I still own all of my Sony cameras in here, and so obviously the ZR is not perfect. But the biggest ick when it comes to the ZR for me, and pretty much anyone else that isn't a fan, is the compression for Red RAW, or lack thereof, because Nikon hasn't actually put any compression options for the R3D codec. The files on this thing are they're more than just big, they're massive. And I can't lie, I actually haven't shot at anything over 6K 24 because I just don't have the storage space to keep such massive files sitting around. And I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like originally this wasn't going to be a problem because my logic was, hey, I'll just buy an SSD for every project anyways. But then the AI boom happened. Oh, great heavens! And here I am sitting now on generational SSD and memory card wealth, and it's still not enough for the memory hungry R3D in the ZR. And like, to put it into perspective, I had a 4-hour client shoot that resulted in 600 gigs worth of footage for about 4 reels and 1 long form video. So shooting this thing professionally is really not for the faint of heart. But the second ick for me with the ZR is only 1 memory card slot for recording video. Now, hear me out. If you're used to massive productions using RED cameras, RE cameras, I know this isn't anything new, right? But as someone who prides themselves on redundancy and never having lost a client project or file, this for me is still in the bad category. It's redeemed by the fact that the 1 card slot is a CF Express Type B card, which super reliable, like super foolproof, but they're also triple the cost of anything comparable in SD format. So that's kind of a big trade-off. And the third ick for me in the ZR is exposure tools. And spoiler alert, there's only one, and it's the histogram. And all I wish for this camera, in hopefully, fingers crossed, this year's firmware update, is false color. The histogram is like really small, and it's really easy to underexpose your footage. But you know, if I think about it, I might also kind of be a rookie when it comes to shooting RAW. So take this one with a little bit of a grain of salt. So only 2 major icks. But you're probably wondering, why do I still shoot with primarily Sony cameras? And at the end of the day, I need to use the tool that I am both most comfortable with and that gets the job done, right? Like, clients and couples do care about color accuracy of their footage, but you know, at the end of the day, if I can provide that final image at a fraction of the cost of production to myself while maintaining redundancy and my own anxiety levels, why wouldn't I just do that? So my conclusion, the ZR is staying in my kit and will probably become an A cam if and when Nikon releases different RED RAW compression options. But until then, honestly, and this is gonna sound like super over the top, the ZR is my family documenting camera, my fun camera, if you will, right? I know I can just slap 1 lens on it and shoot some amazing footage. So that's what I'll use it to do. Using it as a vlogging and memory capturing tool is kind of where it shines for now, because I don't need extended clips, just small short bursts where memories are being made that I want to memorialize forever. So there you have it, my review of the Nikon ZR. I love it. I love the ZR, but it ain't perfect by any means. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing for more of my rants and reviews about any and all things cameras. But you let me know below, are you a ZR A-cammer? Is that an expression, A-cammer? Type A-cammer in the comments if you made it this far into the video. I love you. I appreciate every single one of you that made it this far, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.